It's all on credit. Boom. That's how you do a good deal. Talking of good deals, we've got one here. Dr. Roger Giebel, he is CEO of Fair Money, personal finance and credit expert. Roger, good morning to you.
Good morning, James.
So, apparently, the government is getting all excited about MOTs, and they think this is a way to fix one of our problems. What do they want to do?
Well, you've got to hand it to the government on this one. Well, I mean, you have to hand it to them anyway because they'll take it otherwise. But in this case, they seem to be headed in the right direction. They are finally going to revive the proposal to defer MOT for a year, which means that cars won't be taxed until won't need an MOT until their fourth rather than their third year. Now, of course, there's always opposition. The AA and the RAC are not at all happy with this because they feel that that will increase road accidents from unsafe cars because there'll be more high mileage unsafe cars on the road. So they're sort of hinting at they do have a point. I mean, I would have thought that this is when there are so many other things going on. I mean, this is like your shoelace became a little bit loose, so you're going to stop and undo your shoelaces and tie them back up again, as opposed to there's a great big hole in front of you and you're about to walk in and you're not looking ahead of you. No, I'm usually very critical, and I'm happy to give them credit on this one.
Listen, if that's the only thing you can give them credit for, then frankly, we're all in a mess. But come on, Roger, I want you to froth. Mr. Bean goes to Starbucks. Jeremy Hunt is ostensibly a clever individual. What kind of cretinous thoughts were going through his head when he thought that this idea that some PR spinner had come up with, that he should go into a coffee shop that for many people is probably removed anyway and starts talking about the price of coffee? I might as well just discuss the price of eggs.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, over and over, poor Jezza keeps showing us that he just doesn't get it at all. I mean, these rich people don't understand how we live. Rishi is so rich that he gives his kids their pocket money in Bitcoin, and Hunt is so rich that when he tickles his children, he goes Gucci, 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 goo. I mean, these guys just don't live in the real world.
I'm going to pick you up on this. I don't care how rich or poor or of means or not of means anybody is. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be out of touch. You might say to any presenter on this radio station, what do you know about real life? Do you really understand? And I would say that all of my colleagues, and indeed myself, I think we've got a pretty good grasp of what's going on. Why? Because we speak to people all the time. Why? Because we keep our eye on the news. And why? Because we do a lot of the things. I mean, during the course of the day, whether it's going to supermarkets, looking out for good deals or prices, understanding how much energy bills are going up by, using public transport, using health services, you name it, I would say that we are in touch. And if you've got a lot of money or not, it is then optional as to whether you are in touch with what's going on. I would say, I agree with you, they appear to be out of touch because they appear not to have done their homework, as opposed to, I don't care whether they're rich or poor, you know, any politician, the second you walk through the House of Commons front door, you are going to be removed to an extent from reality. The question is whether you've got the right policies.
Absolutely. I never said that all rich or wealthy people are out of touch. What I'm saying is that the people who are leading us at the moment are seriously out of touch. It is indeed part of being in that Westminster bubble. Once you enter that life, I mean, it's rather like talking to a fish about water. Did you ever speak to a fish about water? I mean, you say, hey, let's talk about water. You go, that's a good idea. What's water? I mean, they live in it all day. They have no idea what's going on. So Hunt has made this absolutely ridiculous video in which people say he looks like Mr. Bean. And he's talking about inflation and comparing it to coffee cups. On the socials, in the social media, the video has been described as, quote, condescending and didactic. You know, what a surprise coming from super smug Jeremy. And even worse, what he's talking is nonsense, because he's claiming, as is Rishi, that they are going to reduce inflation by half this year. Well, as I've been saying for a year on this channel, inflation is cost plus in this cost push inflation, and it's going to go down by itself as it always does. Now, the same inflation is going down in America, Canada, Germany, France, Israel, and other countries. And you don't see, James, a single finance minister claiming credit for it there.
Well, exactly, and it also comes down to the policies that they choose, and also there are things that within the government's weaponry that means that they could reduce inflation tomorrow if they wanted to, and take the steam out of it. Anyway, apparently, just in a sentence or two, apparently there's some cake being eaten.
Yeah, I mean, there's some great stories around, but this is the very best. Professor Susan Jebb of the Food Standards Agency has said that workers must not bring cakes and the like to the office anymore, as she compares them to passive smoking. Birthday cakes, cupcakes, and other sweet treats should not be brought in, she says, to avoid tempting colleagues. This is her contribution to our timid new world. Professor
sorry, but who is this person to come up with such appalling advice? Look, it's just like, how dare you use public money from the thing to make a pathetic statement like this? Get out of your job, save us the money, get rid.
This is not wokeism, James. This is cakeism. She actually stated, and I quote, "If nobody brought cakes to the office, I would not eat cakes," unquote, says the head of an agency. This is a really valuable contribution to knowledge, because, of course, the entire world is concerned about what Susan eats as well.
Well, I'm concerned. I'm concerned she's still in her job. Dr. Roger, we leave it there. Thank you so much. We turn to the papers next here on Talk TV.